Chosen one. There is a reason you are here at this very moment, hearing these very words. It is not by chance. It is not by luck. It is because there is a truth that has been following you for years, perhaps your whole life. And tonight, it has finally caught up with you. Somewhere in the quiet corners of your heart, you've felt it. A shadow that does not belong to just you, but to those who came before you. An ache that feels older than your own memories. You may not have been able to name it, but you've carried it like an invisible weight. And now, you are about to see it for what it really is. Before this week ends, something will shift in the air around you. It may not be loud. It may not be visible to the people in your life. But inside you will feel a crack in the old foundations. This message right now is the sound of that crack forming. You were not just born into a family. You were born into a bloodline with a history, some of it beautiful, some of it heavy. And inside that history is a shadow, a repeating pattern, a wound that has been passed from generation to generation like an unspoken inheritance. That shadow has shaped destinies. It has stolen joy. It has whispered lies about worth and possibility into the ears of those who came before you. And now, chosen one, it has reached you. You have been sensing the pull for a long time. The restless nights. The feeling that no matter how far you run or how much you achieve, something unseen keeps tugging at your spirit. You've watched loved ones live small, repeat the same mistakes, choose pain over healing because it's what they knew. And in the quiet, you've wondered if you were doomed to follow the same path. Let me tell you now, you are not doomed. You are the disruption the bloodline never saw coming. You are the one who was sent to end it. But here is the truth the world will never tell you. Breaking what was born in your bloodline is not a fight of willpower alone. It is a battle of the soul. And that's why, before you can defeat what is trying to live through you, you must first see it clearly. That clarity begins here, now. This is not a comfortable message, it is a necessary one. The demon you must defeat is cunning because it knows your family's story inside and out. It knows your weak spots. It knows the fears you were raised around. It will try to make you believe that you are it, that it is you. But you are not the darkness you inherited. You are the light sent to confront it. Breathe with me now. Feel the air fill your lungs. Let it remind you that you are here, alive, in this moment, not bound by the past, but standing at the edge of a new future. You may be wondering why you, why now, why this moment? Because you are ready. You may not feel ready, but your soul has been trained in silence for this exact calling. Every heartbreak, every season of isolation, every strange ending you couldn't explain, they were not random. They were the shaping of the weapon you would become. I want you to understand something. If you click away now, if you turn your head from this truth, the patterns you've been sensing will not simply disappear. They will wait for you in the dark. And the cost of avoiding them is that they will live through you, through the people you love, through the future that is still unwritten. If you stay with me until the end, you will not only see the enemy, you will know how to break its hold. And once you know, you can never go back to being blind. So if this is already stirring something deep in your chest, if your spirit is saying yes before your mind can catch up, type 777 in the comments right now so I know you're here in this sacred moment. This is not just another video. This is a mirror, a key, and a weapon all at once. Every word that follows has been placed here for you. You have walked through shadows that no one else could see, and heaven has been watching. You have fought battles in silence that no one applauded you for, but every one of them was building your strength. You have carried pain that was never yours to carry, and still you rise. Chosen one, the fight ahead is not to destroy you, it is to free you. And in freeing yourself, you will free those who come after you. Stay with me. Let every sentence settle like a stone in a river, reshaping the flow of your story. Let it awaken the warrior who has been sleeping inside you. This is your moment of remembrance. You are not here to survive what your bloodline has endured. You are here to end it. This is not just about you. It is about everyone your light will touch when the shadow is gone. Stay until the end, and you will remember exactly why you were chosen. Chosen one, there are certain things in life you inherit without ever asking for them. Your eyes, your voice, the shape of your hands, these are passed to you in ways you can see. But there are other inheritances, the kind that live under the skin, in the marrow, in the silent places of your spirit. These are the emotional patterns, the unspoken wounds, the repeated storms that have circled your family for generations. And whether you knew it or not, you were born into a story that began long before you took your first breath. You've probably felt it without having the words for it. A heaviness that appears in moments of joy, a fear that rises when you think about change, a sense of déjà vu when you watch the same arguments, the same mistakes, play out in different faces and different voices. It's as if your blood remembers something your mind can't quite recall. This is the shadow you were born into. Not a curse in the way the world imagines it, but a deep and persistent echo. It shows up in families as patterns that seem impossible to break. Cycles of addiction, cycles of silence, cycles of fear. It can be in the way people avoid hard truths, or how love is given with conditions. Sometimes it's in the way dreams are spoken of only in whispers, as if to want more is dangerous. You've seen it. You've lived in rooms where the air felt heavy with unspoken things. You've watched people fold in on themselves, choosing the safety of familiar pain over the risk of healing. And here you are, standing in the middle of this story, with the strange, unshakable sense that you were born to change its ending. That is no small knowing. That is the beginning of your battle, because what has lived in your bloodline has lived there a long time. It knows the way you think. It knows what buttons to press. It will not go quietly. Take a breath. Feel the air expand your lungs, and remember this: you are not here by accident. You were chosen because you have something your bloodline has not seen for a long time: awareness. The shadow loses power the moment it is seen. For generations it moved unnoticed, shaping choices in silence. But you, chosen one, you can see it. And once you see, you cannot unsee. This is why life has felt heavier for you than for others. You were born with a different level of sensitivity, a deeper awareness of the undercurrents in your family. That awareness is not weakness, it is your weapon, but it comes with a price. To carry this knowing is to feel things others avoid. It is to confront truths others hide from. It is to be the one who says, "This ends here," even when your voice shakes. You see, the world will tell you that your family's story is unchangeable, that people do not change, that the past is set in stone. But the world does not understand the kind of power that lives in a chosen one. You are not bound to the patterns you inherited. You are here to write a different chapter, and that begins with naming what others have been too afraid to speak. Look at your life now. Look at the moments that have felt like crossroads. Every time you've been forced to choose between repeating what you've seen and stepping into the unknown, that was the shadow being challenged. Every time you've felt like you didn't belong, like you were standing apart from the way your family thinks and moves, that was the sign you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to stand out. But standing out is lonely. It is tempting to dim your light just to feel less visible. It is tempting to pretend you don't notice the pattern so you can feel the comfort of belonging. And yet, even in your attempts to blend in, the truth in you will not stay silent. Your soul will not allow it. That restless pull you felt, the one that keeps you searching, is not dissatisfaction. It is destiny calling you forward. The shadow in your bloodline has survived because no one before you had the tools, the awareness, or the courage to face it fully. But you have been prepared in ways you don't even realize yet. The heartbreaks that shaped you, the nights you cried alone, the way you learned to read between the lines of people's words. These were not random pains. These were your training grounds. So here you are, on the edge of something that could change everything. But know this: when you step into the role of the breaker, the shadow will not just give way. It will fight. It will try to convince you that it is too late. It will use fear and doubt to make you believe you are just like everyone else who came before you. And that is why this moment is so sacred. You are hearing these words not to scare you, but to remind you. You were built for this. You are the one who will bring the light into places it has never reached. You are the one who will say, "This pattern stops with me." And when you do, the shift will not just be in your life. It will echo forward into the lives of those you will never meet. That is the power you hold, chosen one. And that is why the shadow has tried so hard to keep you from seeing it. Now that you do, the fight has already begun. Chosen one, if you trace the thread of your life backward, past the years of adulthood, past the heartbreaks and battles you fought in silence, you will find yourself standing in the smallness of your childhood. And even then, the mark was already on you. You may not have understood it, but you felt it. You saw things others did not. You carried an inner world far deeper than the people around you could imagine. From the beginning, you noticed what was unspoken. When the room grew tense, though no one raised their voice, you felt it in your chest. When a smile didn't reach someone's eyes, you knew it was hiding pain. You could sense the energy in the house shift before anyone else reacted. That sensitivity wasn't something you learned. It was something you were born with. And while other children may have been able to stay in the light of ignorance, you found yourself peering into shadows that no one explained to you. Sometimes it made you feel older than your years. While other kids were playing freely, you were quietly observing, noticing patterns, feeling the weight of things you couldn't yet name. Maybe you heard arguments through thin walls, or saw people avoid certain topics like they were dangerous ground. Maybe you noticed how some dreams in your family were laughed at before they could grow, or how hope was swallowed by resignation. Even as a child, you knew there was something in this that wasn't right, though you didn't yet know the word for it. You may have tried to speak about what you sensed, only to be silenced or dismissed. Don't overthink. That's just the way things are. You're too sensitive. Those words may have stung, not just because they dismissed your feelings, but because they told you to ignore what you knew was real. And so, piece by piece, you learned to carry your awareness in silence. But here's the truth. You weren't meant to shut it down. That deep awareness was your inheritance, but unlike the shadow in your bloodline, it was a gift. It was the light placed in you to one day illuminate the very darkness you were born into. The problem was, as a child, you didn't yet know how to carry it without being weighed down by it. You hadn't yet grown the strength to stand under its full weight. So life protected you in its own way, by allowing you to notice, but not yet to act. Looking back, you can see moments when you didn't fit in, when you felt like you were watching life from the outside. This wasn't because you were broken, it was because you were different. Not in the shallow sense of uniqueness the world talks about, but in the deeper, spiritual sense. You were born set apart. That separation is what has allowed you to see the patterns clearly, without being fully consumed by them. Perhaps you remember sitting at family gatherings, feeling the invisible currents between people. You could sense the history in the way they spoke, in the pauses, in the way certain names or memories were avoided. It wasn't just your imagination. It was your spirit reading the story beneath the story. The truth is, you are always a mirror, and mirrors make people uncomfortable when they aren't ready to see themselves. Because of that, you may have been misunderstood. Some saw you as too quiet, too intense, too serious. Others may have mistaken your watchfulness for judgment. But what you were really doing was absorbing. You were studying the patterns so deeply that one day, when the time came, you would know exactly what needed to be broken. Even in school, you may have found yourself drawn to deeper conversations, uninterested in small talk. While others laughed about surface things, you found yourself asking questions about meaning, purpose, and why people act the way they do. Without realizing it, you were already walking a path toward the role you were meant to play. Chosen one. The mark was there from the beginning. And though it sometimes made you feel like an outsider, it was never meant to punish you. It was meant to prepare you. Your childhood was the quiet training ground where you learned how to see what others avoided. It was where you began to understand the language of the soul without anyone teaching you. So now, when you look back, don't only remember the loneliness. Remember the knowing. Remember that the part of you that felt different was the same part of you that will one day set your lineage free. You were born with sight others did not have. You were born with a light others could not carry. That is the mark of the chosen, and you have worn it all your life. Chosen one. There is a lie that whispers to many when they reach the middle stretch of life. It says, "You've missed your chance. You should have done it earlier. It's too late now." That lie is one of the oldest tricks of the shadow you are here to break. It knows that if it can convince you the time for change has passed, it can keep you bound for the rest of your days. But hear me now. Midlife is not a closing door. It is a sacred gate, and you are standing right at the threshold. You may feel the ache of years gone by. You may look at the dreams you once carried and wonder if they are still worth holding. You may carry regrets like stones in your pocket. Times you stayed silent, times you chose safety over truth, times you followed the pattern instead of breaking it. But let me tell you, there is nothing wasted. Every season you have walked through has been shaping you into the person who can not only face the shadow, but defeat it. Midlife is when the illusions of youth fall away. You no longer have the same need to prove yourself to the world. You begin to care less about fitting in and more about living in alignment with your soul. And that shift in focus is powerful. It's what makes this the exact moment to step into your purpose. In your earlier years, the shadow might have been able to distract you with the noise of ambition, relationships, or the need for approval. But now, there is a quiet clarity rising inside you, even if it feels uncomfortable. That clarity is divine timing. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." Chosen one, you have reached the point where the unconscious patterns of your bloodline are no longer invisible to you. They are showing themselves through repeated situations, familiar emotional triggers, and the quiet feeling that you have lived parts of your life before, just in different forms. This is not coincidence. This is the moment when you are being asked to make the unconscious conscious, to see clearly what you have inherited so you can decide what ends with you. Think about it. When you were younger, you didn't have the wisdom you have now. You may have had energy, but you didn't have the insight that comes from walking through storms. You didn't have the scars that teach you which battles matter. Now you do. You are not just older, you are sharper, more aware, more equipped. That is why this moment is not too late. It is perfect. Breathe with me now. Let the air remind you that as long as you have breath, you have purpose. You are not a prisoner of the calendar or the clock. The universe works on cycles, not deadlines. And the cycle you are in now is one that requires the maturity, resilience, and discernment you've only gained through living. This is not a delay, it's a setup. Yes, you may have taken detours. Yes, there may have been years when you felt lost, but even those seasons were gathering strength for you. The shadow in your bloodline is ancient, and it takes someone with depth to face it. You have that depth now. You have been tested in ways that have shaped your endurance. You have learned to see beyond appearances. You have learned the value of peace over the approval of others. These are not small things. These are the tools of a breaker. So when the voice of fear tells you it's too late, answer it with truth. It's not too late because you are just now stepping into the kind of power that cannot be rushed. Everything before this moment was preparation. Every heartbreak, every loss, every ending was a chisel in the hands of the divine, shaping you into the exact person this fight needs. Chosen one, you are not behind. You are right on time. And when you step forward now, you step not as the uncertain child or the distracted young adult, but as the seasoned soul who can look the shadow in the eye and say, I see you, I know you, and you end here. This is your season. This is your gate. And once you walk through, there is no going back. Chosen one, there is a sacred mystery that happens before every great unveiling, and it is not loud. It is not celebrated. It is not shared on the world's stage. It is the silence, the in-between, the seasons where nothing seems to move on the outside, yet everything is shifting beneath the surface. If you've been in that silence, where calls stop coming, doors seem closed, and the world forgets your name, know this. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. The shadow in your bloodline cannot be broken with noise. It cannot be defeated while you are surrounded by constant distraction. That's why there are seasons where the divine pulls you away from the crowd. Not because you are unworthy, but because you are dangerous to the pattern. You are being refined, stripped of the noise, so that when you face what no one else could, you do so with a strength that is unshakable. Silence has its own language. At first, it feels like emptiness. It feels like loss. You may have wondered why friendships dissolved without explanation, why certain opportunities slipped away, why the life you once knew seemed to crumble in your hands. But in truth, these were not losses. They were removals. Everything that could not walk with you into the next season had to fall away. It is the same way a cocoon closes around the caterpillar, not to trap it, but to shield the transformation that cannot happen in the open. In the holy silence, the soul remembers its own voice. You begin to see the patterns clearly, without the fog of other people's opinions. You start to notice how often you've been pulled toward cycles that were never yours to repeat. You see the way certain behaviors and beliefs have been passed down like heirlooms, wrapped in love, but bound in pain. And in the quiet, you begin to decide that they end here. It is in this hidden place that your endurance is forged. Like metal in the fire, the heat shapes you, purifies you, strengthens you for the fight ahead. You may not feel strong while it's happening. In fact, you may feel more vulnerable than ever. But this is the paradox of preparation. The moments when you feel stripped bare are the moments when the divine is clothing you in what you truly need. The womb is silent before the birth. The desert is still before the rain. The seed breaks in darkness before it reaches the light. Your season of holy silence is not the end of your story. It is the place where the next chapter is written in ink only heaven can see. Breathe with me now. Let the stillness wrap around you instead of fighting it. Rest in this space, because it is not the void, it is the forge. The same silence that made you question everything is the silence that is answering you in ways words never could. And when the time comes, when you step out of this hidden season, you will not step out the same. The shadow that tried to stalk you through your bloodline will look at you and not recognize you. It will sense the authority in your voice, the unshakable light in your eyes. You will not need to announce yourself. Your presence will carry the proof of the preparation. So do not despise this season. The silence is holy. It is where you are learning to walk without applause, to stand without validation, to trust without evidence. It is where you are learning that your power has never been in how loud you can shout, but in how deeply you can listen. to your own soul, to the divine whisper, to the truth that has been trying to reach you all along. This is why, when you emerge, you will not just be ready to fight, you will already be victorious. Because the real battle was never against the shadow outside. It was against the parts of yourself that believed you were too weak to face it. And in the silence, you have already proven otherwise. Chosen one, there is a price to pay for standing against what has lived comfortably in your bloodline for generations. Breaking the pattern is not simply an act of will. It is an act of defiance against the invisible forces that have shaped your family's story. And the moment you begin to step out of that cycle, you will feel the cost. It is not always obvious at first, but it is real. Sometimes the cost comes in the form of relationships. The very people you love may resist your change because it threatens their sense of normal. They may not understand why you can no longer participate in certain conversations, behaviors, or traditions. Your refusal to repeat what has always been done will feel to them like a rejection of who they are. They may call you distant. They may say you've changed. And the truth is you have, but not because you love them less, because you love truth more. Other times, the cost comes in loneliness. The moment you begin to shift, you might find yourself walking roads no one else in your family has walked. There may be no map, no guide, no one to tell you you're doing it right. You will have to trust that the same inner voice that told you to step away will also guide you toward the people and places you need. This is not easy, because part of you will still crave the comfort of familiar arms, even when those arms keep you bound. There is also the cost of misunderstanding. You may be accused of thinking you're better than others, when in truth you are simply refusing to live beneath your calling. Some will misinterpret your silence as judgment. Others will mistake your boundaries for walls. And while every part of you will want to defend yourself, you will have to learn that explanation is not always necessary. Your life will be your proof. Chosen one, you will feel the pull to go back. The shadow knows how to tempt you with the sweetness of familiarity. It will whisper, "It would be easier to just let things be. Go back to how it was. Stop stirring the waters." But every time you consider it, something deep in your spirit will resist. You cannot unknow what you now know. You cannot unsee the patterns you've been chosen to break. This is why the role of the breaker is so rare. Many see the pattern but do not confront it. Many try to speak, only to be silenced by fear. But you have been given both the sight and the courage. And courage always comes with a cost. The truth is, not everyone will walk with you to the other side. Some will watch from a distance. Some will wait for you to fail so they can say, "I told you so." Others will quietly hope you succeed, even if they never say it aloud. And a few will be inspired to follow, not because you preached to them, but because you lived in a way that proved freedom was possible. Breathe with me now. Let yourself feel both the weight and the honor of this calling. You are not losing for the sake of loss. You are making space for something greater to be born. The friendships that fade, the invitations that stop coming, the approval that slips away. These are not signs you are on the wrong path. They are signs that the old world is letting go of you because it can no longer hold you. Yes, it hurts. Yes, there will be nights when you feel the ache of what you've left behind. But one day you will look at the generations that come after you and see the evidence of what you paid. You will see children walking in freedom where there used to be chains. You will see dreams blooming where there used to be fear. And in that moment, you will know the cost was worth it. Chosen one, you were never called to live an easy life. You were called to live a life that shifts the future. And shifting the future means paying a price in the present. But remember this, what costs you now will pay others back for generations. And that is a legacy worth every step of this journey. Chosen one, when you have spent years walking through noise, chaos, and the pull of other people's expectations, it is easy to lose the sound of your own inner voice. You begin to doubt yourself, to second-guess every decision, to look outside for validation before you move forward. This is how the shadow in your bloodline survives. It drowns out the compass in your chest until you forget you have one. But the truth is, your compass has never left you. It has been there since the beginning, quietly pointing you toward freedom, even when you couldn't hear it. That compass is the knowing you feel before your mind has time to argue. It is the unease that rises when you're about to step into something that isn't for you. It is the peace that washes over you when you're exactly where you're meant to be. You've felt it before, in the moments you couldn't explain why you just knew something was wrong, or why you were drawn to a path that made no sense to anyone else. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was your spirit speaking through the compass in your chest. Over time, the voices around you, family, friends, culture, may have taught you to ignore that inner pull. They may have told you to be realistic, stop overreacting, or follow the rules. But every time you silenced yourself to fit in, a part of you grew quieter. And yet, even in your quietest seasons, the compass kept turning, waiting for you to trust it again. Now is the time to listen. The battle you are fighting in your bloodline cannot be won with logic alone. It requires a deep sensitivity to truth, a willingness to follow your knowing, even when it leads you away from the familiar. You will not always have proof in advance. Sometimes all you will have is the still, small voice inside saying, "This way," and that has to be enough. Breathe with me now. Place your hand over your chest. Feel the steady beat beneath your palm. That rhythm is not just your heart. It is the sound of your alignment when you are connected to what is true. When you are unsure, come back to this place. Ask yourself, what does my spirit feel in this moment? Not, what will they think? Not, what if I'm wrong? But, what is my deepest knowing telling me right now? You will find that the more you follow your compass, the stronger it becomes. The whispers grow louder. The path becomes clearer. You begin to move with a kind of quiet confidence that no one can shake, because you are no longer depending on the approval or understanding of others. You are moving in harmony with your soul. This is what makes you dangerous to the shadow in your bloodline. It thrives on confusion, on hesitation, on the kind of self-doubt that keeps you stuck in the same cycles as those who came before you. But when you return to the compass in your chest, you cut off its power. You begin making choices that break the pattern instead of repeating it. It will not always be comfortable. The compass may lead you to say no when you are expected to say yes. It may lead you to leave rooms that have grown too small for your spirit. It may lead you into seasons of solitude so you can grow without interference. But every time you trust it, you are building a future that looks nothing like the past. Chosen one, your compass is your inheritance. It is the gift you were given to navigate the path others could not see. It is the voice that will guide you through the thickest darkness and into the light that belongs to you. Do not ignore it. Do not hand it over to anyone else. This fight is not just about defeating what has lived in your bloodline. It is about reclaiming the guidance that was always meant to be yours, and once you hear it again, you will never walk blind. Chosen one, there comes a moment in every soul's journey when the path you are on begins to shift beneath your feet. It is not because you have done something wrong, but because the season you were in has reached its appointed end. You feel it before you see it, the subtle pull away from certain people, certain places, certain roles. At first you may resist it, because leaving feels like loss. But deep down, you know this is not abandonment. This is a recall. Heaven is calling you forward before others are ready to move. This is not a promotion in the worldly sense. It is not about status, recognition, or being above anyone else. It is about timing. The work you have been doing, the breaking of patterns, the confronting of shadows, has reached a point where you must step into the next chapter of your calling. And while you may wish that those you love could come with you, some are not ready. The The soil in their life has not yet been tilled for the seeds of change you carry. If you force them to walk with you now, you will end up carrying their resistance, and it will slow your steps. You will feel grief in this moment, because while you are gaining clarity and direction, you are also saying goodbye to what has been familiar. You may have shared years, laughter, and tears with these people. You may have thought the journey would always be side by side. But recall, seasons are not about sentiment. They are about alignment. And sometimes alignment requires separation. The truth is, not everyone will understand why you are moving the way you are. They will see your absence as distance. They will take your silence personally. They will ask why you are changing, as if change is betrayal. You must remember that your calling is not up for their approval. You are not leaving to hurt them. You are leaving because your path demands it. Breathe with me now. Let yourself feel the weight of that truth without resisting it. You are not meant to carry the guilt of leaving. You are meant to carry the light that will one day guide them forward when their time comes. Think of it like a gate opening in the sky, something you cannot explain with words, but you know you must walk through it. You do not get to choose the timing of the gate. You only get to choose whether you step through when it opens or stay behind until it closes. And if you stay behind out of fear, you risk losing the alignment that has been building inside you for years. This is why release is not betrayal. It is trust. Trust that those you leave behind are in the hands of the same divine order that is guiding you. Trust that their journey will unfold in its own time. Trust that separation now does not mean separation forever. It simply means your paths are taking different routes for now. Chosen one, recall, seasons are sacred. They are not about rushing ahead or leaving people in the dust. They are about following the inner knowing that says, it's time. And when you honor that knowing, you step into a space where the next layer of your calling can be revealed without interference. You will be tempted to explain yourself, to make everyone understand, to smooth over the edges of your departure so no one feels hurt. But sometimes silence is the only answer you can give. Not because you are hiding something, but because the truth is too deep to be put into words they are not ready to hear. When heaven recalls you before others, it is because there is ground to break, doors to open, and work to begin that will eventually make room for those who will follow. You are not walking away, you are walking ahead, and every step you take now is creating a path they will one day need. So do not look back in fear. Do not slow your pace to match those who are not yet ready. The gate is open. The call has been made. Step forward, chosen one. The timing is not just perfect, it is divine. Chosen one, there will come a day when the very people who misunderstood you, doubted you, or dismissed you will begin to search for you. They will not be looking for the version of you they once knew. They will be seeking the light, the clarity, the freedom that you now carry. But by then, you will no longer be where they left you. You will no longer be standing in the old places waiting to be found. When you chose to break the shadow in your bloodline, you stepped onto a path that took you beyond their reach, not because you wanted to disappear, but because you were called to grow beyond what they could understand at the time. You didn't run from them out of anger. You moved forward out of necessity. And now, from where you stand, you can see that if you had stayed, you would have been pulled back into patterns you were meant to end. One day, something will shift in their lives. Maybe a loss, maybe an awakening, maybe a moment of deep loneliness, and they will remember the one who stood apart. They will remember your words, your presence, the way you carried yourself differently. They will recall the strength you held even when they didn't understand it. And they will want to know what changed you. But by the time they come looking, you will have transformed into something they cannot catch. Like a butterfly that once walked the earth as a caterpillar, you will no longer fit into the form they remember. They will look for the old you, the one who lived by the old rules, the one who tolerated the old patterns, and they will not find that person. That version of you no longer exists. This is not cruelty. This is evolution. You are not obligated to return to the old places simply because others have decided they are ready now. Your journey is not a revolving door. Once you step into the light, you do not crawl back into the shadows for the sake of familiarity. You cannot unlearn the truth. You cannot unsee your worth. Breathe with me now. Let go of the guilt that whispers you should go back to guide them personally. Sometimes your absence is the lesson. Sometimes the only way they will begin their own transformation is by realizing they cannot borrow yours. They must find their own path, their own strength, their own encounter with the truth. Yes, they may be hurt when they find you are no longer where they left you. Yes, they may call you distant, unapproachable, or changed beyond recognition. But what they will really be seeing is the reflection of the distance between where they are and where you have gone. That distance is not a wall, it is an invitation for them to rise. You may still feel the sting of what you have lost along the way, friendships, relationships, a sense of belonging. But what you have gained is far greater. The sight to see what needs to end, and the courage to end it. You have become the one your bloodline did not expect, but has always needed. And when you stand in that truth, the shadow cannot hold you. Breathe with me now. Feel the air filling your lungs, and know that as long as there is breath in your body, your story is still being written. You have not missed your moment. You are in it. The shift is not coming someday. It is happening now. With every choice to listen to your inner compass, with every decision to step out of the old patterns, you are breaking chains that have held for decades, even centuries. Understand this: the silence you walked through was never punishment. It was a refining fire, burning away what could not walk with you into the new season. You learned in that silence to trust yourself, to hear your own soul, to stand without needing anyone's approval. And now, that strength is yours to carry into every battle ahead. This is your prophetic moment. Declare it over yourself. It ends with me. The patterns stop here. My children and their children will walk in freedom. Say it until you feel it rise in your bones. Say it until the shadow recognizes that its time has run out. If these words are resonating in your spirit, mark this moment. Type 1111 in the comments as your declaration that you have heard and received your confirmation. This is not just something you listen to. This is a shift you have stepped into. And remember, whenever the world gets too heavy, this space will be here. A place to rest your soul, to be reminded of who you are and what you carry. You are not alone in this calling. You are part of a quiet, powerful rising of chosen ones who are reclaiming the future from the grip of the past. So go forward now with unshakable clarity. The demon in your bloodline has met its match. Its reign ends here because you are awake, you are ready, and you are no longer afraid. And when you walk in this truth, the generations after you will thank you, though they may never know your name, for the freedom you chose in this moment. Chosen one, it is done.